Hey, seriously, is this safe, investing in cryptocurrencies?
Yes, very safe. 50-50.
50-50 what? Like 50% chance we become rich, 50% we lose everything?
Yes, that's why we're diversifying our portfolios. It's much safer.
How much safer?
50-50.
Bro, what the f?
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an excellent start to your weekend. Now, having a look at Bitcoin, we are still, at the time of making this video, sitting above our support level at around that $63,100 level. But how long will that hold, especially going into the weekend? Now, we have had two successful bounces off of this level. However, if we go over here and actually have a look at the weekly chart, although if we stay at this level, we're still closing the highest weekly candle of all time. We are seeing potential similarities to this Wyckoff distribution right here, right? We're essentially what we're seeing is these big candles to the upside, which is showing that we're having these candle wicks, that are showing lots of selling pressure from investors that have maybe made a lot of money on Bitcoin. And especially with all the news around the ETF, which is something that we've been waiting for so many years, why are we not seeing a bigger price run up for Bitcoin? Right? Some investors are even scared, saying that this may potentially be a giant double top and that this could be the start of the beginning of the bear market. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion on that, whether or not I think we're actually starting a bear market right now, just simply because of this speculation of the double top. We also want to be, like I said, careful that we're not following a similar pattern that we did back here with the Wyckoff distribution. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at some short-term analysis as well as some historical analysis. I want to look into some historical Bitcoin charts, the rainbow chart, the stock to flow. I also want to talk about what miners are doing right now, the fact that they are very heavy in profits. So if a miner was looking to sell, this could be the time to sell. And there are also some global situations happening right now today that could be affecting the price as well. So we're going to talk about all those fundamentals, all that technicals. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, definitely stick around to the end of this video. We are going to go over a lot in today's video. So I hope you guys enjoy this. If you do, obviously drop a like, get subscribed if you haven't. So having a look right here overall, does it look like we're putting in a bit of a double top? Well, we don't really have any kind of confirmation on anything yet. I mean, you can see right here, even just drawing this simple trend, we are still putting in a trend to the upside, right? And the trend is your friend until the end. So, even if Bitcoin was to come all the way back down here and retest this right around that $55,000 level or even $50,000 level, I've been saying that's still bullish for Bitcoin. In fact, we might need a bit of a cool off. We have had altcoin mania, meme coin mania, and generally speaking, that does signal local tops. And I will show you one example a little bit later in this video. We also can see right here that the S&P has taken a bit of a fall as well leading into the weekend. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen by the end of today, but so far speaking, we have had 3 red days, and looking at what actually just opened right now, my friends, live. Wow, this is incredible. So yeah, we are seeing a little bit of a green pump. Let's see how that affects the end of the video, if anything changes. But having a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin saw a very similar move as well, right? Where we hit 69,000 and we had the pullback. Now, we still are above the 21 exponential on the daily, which is a very significant level, currently sitting at around 62,600. However, the level that I've had my eyes on for ultimate support has been this VPVR. You can see behind me, you can see the cluster. Right here, you can see the significance of this level, and if we follow it all the way across, you can see that that level is sitting at $61,347. So markets do need corrections, and like I said, I was anticipating a breakout of this pattern, this triangle, and we did have a target of around 75 to 76,000. But I also mentioned that we are not going to just go to 75, 76,000 overnight. And there's also one other pattern that's forming that we need to talk about in just a minute. But for people yesterday in the video that were talking about the price coming back down to this level, had you put in a long, yes, you actually had an opportunity to, put it in at around 63,000. We did go up to 67. However, we are back at this level, which is why, my friends, super quick, just have to make a public announcement. If you are trading on leverage, make sure you use your stop losses, right? And if you don't have the time to pay attention to your daily trades, then you should not be day trading, because what you can do is put in a stop loss. You can put in a trailing stop loss. You can also put in a stop loss as it pumps. So say if you're, if you put in a 10x let's say you're doing 10x leverage and it's up 3%, you're up 30%, you can just put a stop loss now at 10%. So even if the price does fall, you still don't lose any money and you have enough to cover costs, okay? So that's just something you need to know about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I go over all that in all of my tutorials. There's one popping up above. Make sure you pay attention to the risk management section if you are looking to trade this, right? But one thing we have to look at right here, and excuse me, I was actually drawing this a little bit earlier, but I'll show you again what I was looking at, was I don't like the fact that currently we've sort of had supports become resistance. Now, this is on the lower time frame, but you can see right here, right after Bitcoin had this blast off move on November 7th, we came down and we had a little bit of support right here. We touched it again, and then we bounced off. We had support on this trend, and then you can see right here, we fell through both of these levels, right? So now we have this support right here, which is acting as resistance, and we have this support right here, which is also acting as resistance. So you want to see resistance flipping support in bullish moves. You don't want to see support flipping resistance, right? So now we are at a battle point where we have to get back above these levels for the bullish case. Now, I'm not going full on bear, not saying that we're going into a full on bear market, right? But we do have to be cautious because we were fooled back here when we had, we had this higher high, we had this other higher high, but then we had this lower high, which actually completed the Wyckoff distribution leading into the 55% downturn. Now, right here, if we look at what we've put in, we have put in one higher high. So does this mean that we come back down here, we put in another higher high, then we put in a lower high, and we just rinse and repeat the same thing again? What are the odds that they do it twice in a row? Well, we'll have to see how that plays out. But currently for me, there's no reason to become a bear just yet. We're above all the major moving averages on the daily. We've had support by, the 50. We are above the VPVR, and we have this legacy trend right here. Okay, so even if Bitcoin was to have this, price fall, 30% crash all the way down to 45,000 or even 48,000, from these levels, you're still looking at a trend that's going to the upside. These are just market participants taking their profits. Now, there are some things that are happening globally that we can go over as well. One thing, actually, shout out to Galaxy BTC. He actually kind of agreed with me as well that, we could potentially come down, to that $60,000 level. I actually had a little bit of a lower target than this, but it is still possible before continuing to the upside, right? This is what markets do. They go up, then they come back down. But here's the thing. A lot of people are saying, there's this crazy meme going around that we're going to have $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that there is so much euphoria and excitement, and you go on social media and everybody's calling for $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. It may not happen. And also, if we're looking at these lengthening cycles, if we do think that Bitcoin has just started a completely new cycle, then we wouldn't anticipate $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year because that would actually be too quick. And something that you need to point out, that we need to point out and talk about is having a look at Plan B stock to flow model. So you could see that with the exception of the first rally, we didn't really have a lot of data. Plan B, who by the way is still calling for $135,000 Bitcoin by the end of December, you could see that if we have a look at these colors right here, they represent months until the next halving, right? And generally when we get from orange into this sort of yellow area, we really have reached the end of the cycle, and then yellow into green, and then blue is the bear market, right? So you could see that we did follow that very, very well right here, 2017 leading into 2018. However, if we actually have a look at what's going on right now, and we have a look at where we were previously, the yellow does sort of represent the high for Bitcoin. However, we're not even to the stock to flow yet. So this essentially tells us two potential things. One, that the stock to flow model may be flawed, and maybe now we are going into lengthening cycles, and maybe we're going to see a high somewhere in the green or the blue area. Or it tells us that, no, this is how the cycle works. It is based on the 4-year halving cycle, and this does represent the top for Bitcoin. But if that was the case, it would be the first time in Bitcoin's history that we ever didn't get above the stock to flow level prediction, and it would be the first time that we ever had a true double top in Bitcoin, right? Not to say that it can't happen. Now, another model that's very popular is the rainbow model. And you can see as we get closer to the red, we are going into bubble territory, super FOMO, be careful, ultimate danger. And when we're down in the blue territory, it's essentially a fire sale. So if we have a look at where Bitcoin is right now in this cycle, it only puts us into the hodl, leading into the maybe we're getting into the overheated territory. We haven't even gotten anywhere up to the red, which if we were to get up to that level, we would have to get somewhere upwards of, definitely over 100,000, depending on how fast we went up there. I mean, you could see if we were to get up there, let's say some people are saying the beginning of next year, somewhere in Q1 or something like that, that still puts us up to $200,000 by Q2 of next year. So that does beg the question, have things changed? Well, one thing that has, two things we will go into, but one thing that has not changed is when we do see this insane mania, especially when the meme coins start pumping, we usually need a market cool off. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen this time, but historically speaking, if we actually have a look at, this is Dogecoin, and we know Dogecoin went on an absolute tear, towards the beginning of May, and right around May 8th, we had the top out for Dogecoin. Now, if we go back to the Bitcoin chart and we have a look, let me actually switch this to the daily super quick. So where was that on this chart? So right here we have May 8th as the top for Dogecoin. And if we come over here and have a look at Bitcoin, we could see that May 8th was actually right here. And I'll actually put a line to show you May 7th, May 8th, right here. So essentially right here on this last sort of exit pump of the Wyckoff distribution was when Bitcoin started to fall. Now, if we go forward and see what happened right here, we have had Shiba Inu, which is sort of like the next generation meme coin that everyone's been excited about, and it has hit these levels again, and we are seeing that pullback. Now, of course, this could just be potentially, a healthy bull pennant forming for Shiba Inu. I'm not saying that the pump is over, but I am saying that I was watching these meme coins absolutely just going bananas. And usually when you see markets go just insane like that, you often do have that bit of a cool off period. Now, let me talk about some positives. So the last time that we had this insane euphoria between April and May, what we saw was, and this is a chart, this is Bitcoin futures annualized rolling 3-month basis, right? So this is what people were anticipating the price to be. And you could see January to April, it was extremely bullish. We had 46% at the top, 45%, which was like peak euphoria on April 14th. Futures basis peaks nearly 50% offshore exchanges, while CME trades at substantially lower premium. But if we actually look at what we're doing right now, you could see that we're very, very low, very, very sustainable, right? Only 14, 13, 8%. So this is showing that people are a lot more realistic as far as their predictions going into the end of this year. So maybe we have washed out some of the leverage. Maybe people are learning their lessons, although human psychology says that, fear and greed pretty much stays the same unanimously across the board throughout all the times of human history. But one factor that could send Bitcoin above the $100,000 level is this inflation. Now, we've been talking about inflation. I don't care. I know somebody's going to say, oh, the Fed said they're tapering. I don't care about the tapering. It doesn't matter what they say. Talk. But what I'm seeing with my own eyes is global inflation running rampant. In October, inflation stood at 6.2%, which is its highest level since the early 1990s. We printed 40% of all the money in circulation within the last year and a half. It's been absolutely insane. So I don't want to hear about this Fed tapering. And with Bitcoin consistently showing itself to be a dependable store of value over the years, investors are in fact looking to Bitcoin as an inflation against the hedge, as an inflation hedge. A hedge against inflation. I'm sorry, guys. Today's been an interesting day today. I had a lot of stuff going on this morning, but I'm trying to get this video out to you. And like Dylan LeClaire said, financial repression causes rational economic actors to seek scarce assets or sound money. Bitcoin is the best money the world has ever seen. So what could throw a wrench in the gears? Well, I'll tell you right now, I just, was just browsing Google and I'm noticing all of a sudden talks about lockdowns again, right? We have the Netherlands just going into lockdown. I think it's either today or tomorrow, right? And a few other countries considering it as well. So, are we becoming immune to the lockdowns, I mean, it never really is the type of news that you want to hear as a country. So that may potentially affect it short term. Another thing that you can look at as well is the miners, the cost of mining Bitcoin and the profits. Now, having a look right here, you don't even really have to break down this chart very much. You could see that regardless of whether you're talking about lifetime cost to mine a Bitcoin with, this unit versus this ASIC model, etc., estimated unit to buy, it doesn't matter. All of these are substantially low, with the average cost to mine a Bitcoin somewhere, and they say right here, between 7,000 to 11,000 US dollars, right? So, I mean, just talking about that right now, even if you take it on the high end, on average, being around 11,000, you're talking Bitcoin still being above $60,000. This is a lot of profit for the miners, okay? So, if they wanted to start selling at this point, you could potentially argue that this would be the time to sell, right? So that could be some fears as well. But we are also seeing Bitcoin getting taken off the exchanges. We are seeing a lot of people putting it in their wallets, looking to hodl it long term. But there is one chart that is absolutely mind-blowing. And shout out to Miles J Creative. Please go give this guy a follow over on Twitter. He has some beautiful analysis. I mean, look how gorgeous this chart is. Now, you may not be able to see everything on here. There are a lot of subtext that you have to read, but essentially when talking about these market cycles, he points out to take note in the past two cycles that the bear market low has always sat on top of the mid-cycle crest. So this is this red line right here. And you could see that this level, and I don't have the exact numbers right here, but essentially once we broke this mid-level crest, even though we did have multiple months, even, years plus of a bear cycle down, we never got below that level again. You could see the same thing happen right here. We had this level as well. And if we actually look at what this price is right here, you could see that this level is sitting at around the $65,000 level. Now, we are currently sitting below that level. So as I said, if Bitcoin was to just sort of roll over and die right now, it would essentially be the first time that Bitcoin ever put in a double top in a cycle and ended it like this. And if we are looking at these longer cycles, these super cycles, these slower, more institutional cycles, then you could see that this potentially puts Bitcoin, this is a pretty crazy estimate right here, but we could go anywhere to 454,000 to 523,000 before having this cycle top. And then if we do have that pullback from that level, that would actually put $65,000 Bitcoin the bottom of the next bear market. So if you're worried about Bitcoin, thinking maybe it's too late to get in, maybe you're buying at the all-time high, just consider the fact that if this lengthened cycle does play out and it is a super cycle and it is different this time, that's a lot of ifs, right? Then we're looking at about a $65,000 Bitcoin at the low of the next bear market. So that is one perspective. Now, I did have my targets a little lower for the bear market. I was looking somewhere around that 30K consolidation. But if it does play out, buying even at the all-time high right now would be the equivalent 4 years from now or 3 years from now buying the bottom of the cycle. So it is all about perspective. And it does matter what your time horizon is. If you're just looking to make some quick money, get in, get out. Well, if you've been in cryptocurrency for, a few months now, you've most likely made some gains. And you know what? Shave some profits off the top. I actually had a friend, I don't want to dox them or anything, but she got into Shiba pretty early. She made a lot of money. When I tell you a lot of money, I mean a lot of money, okay? Probably one of the best Shiba trades I know of anybody personally, but she held on to it, and currently her position is down around 50%. And, I had suggested to her, sell half and keep half. And that's the strategy that you can do as well. If you think this may be the top, because nobody really knows, right? We're all just speculating, then you know what? If you're in profits, especially if you're up over 200%, take half and keep half, or take back your initial investment in the form of USDT or whatever stable coin you want to hold. Or if your goal, like my goal, is to accumulate the most Bitcoin ever, just accumulate Bitcoin. I don't really care about the dollar value because I'm a long-term hodler. Then for me, these dips don't even matter. I don't care if Bitcoin goes down to 30, 20. That for me is a fire sale, right? Because I know where Bitcoin is going long term. So definitely check this out. I did not even do this chart justice. There's a lot more information on it. Go check out Miles J Creative. Shout out to you, buddy. This is an amazing analysis. I love your beautiful charts that you put out. And in my video yesterday, I was talking about the VanEck Bitcoin ETF. Now, the reason that this is so important, and there were some people in the comments telling me it's not important. Well, you know what? To those people, I actually say, you're right. You're actually right. It's not that big of a deal. But unfortunately, this is just how markets are, right? Who is this ETF potentially going to matter to? Probably just older people, right? Like the elderly, people that don't want to touch Coinbase or these other different trading platforms, right? But nevertheless, unfortunately, this type of news does affect the space. So there is a lot of waiting, seeing what's going to happen, because the ETF that we have right now is not only cash settled, right? Which means it's not Bitcoin, but it's also futures. So what they're looking to do is a spot traded physical Bitcoin ETF. Now, I know there's Bitcoin custodial solutions out there, right? Bakkt was doing it, Grayscale is doing it, but those products are not technically ETFs. So there is that technical difference. This is why it's a big deal. This is why I brought it up to you. And leading into the weekend, it could make for some crazy price movement. That's all I was saying. Is it really important news? No, not really. But are the markets going to treat it as important news? Yes, they are, for whatever reason. So that's basically all I was trying to say in that video yesterday. And having a look at Ethereum right here, Ethereum is still following on this upwards trend. Ethereum looking, once again, much stronger than Bitcoin. However, I do want to exercise a little bit of a word of caution to all my friends trading Ethereum. If we do break this level, there's probably going to be a very big drop, or at least minimally a massive wick, okay? So if we do have something where, Ethereum comes all the way down and flash crashes, into the blue zone around, I would say between 3,640 and 3,765. This could be an amazing opportunity if you are trading, maybe to even just put some buy orders down in there. Not financial advice, but that's what I would be looking to do, because then most likely we would see a nice rebound off of that level. And actually, I do have one final thing. I just wanted to talk about Bitcoin super quick. Let me just get rid of all this stuff that I drew. And, one thing that you could sort of argue if we look at this daily. Now, this is kind of a little bit, it's not really fully confirmed yet, so I'm just going to do a rough drawing. But you could say that this might be looking to be a giant falling wedge, okay? Now, if that is the case, then falling wedges are technically bearish patterns. And, that would bring Bitcoin right back down to this level. Like I said, we see something like this. We're probably not going to see a straight down drop, but it wouldn't be out of the cards to see Bitcoin come down here, get supported, put in that third touch on the legacy trend at around the $50,000 level before we continue to the upside. So I just wanted to point that out before we go. As I said, I want to be very realistic on this channel. I am still major bullish, but I do think that these healthy resets are good for the market. And they're excellent opportunities to dollar cost average and buy the dip. Let's just be honest, right? So I do want to end on one story, and that's it for me today. But you have the CEO over here of AMC saying, big news flash, as promised, many new ways now to pay online at AMC, which is a movie theater chain. If you're not familiar with that, we proudly now accept, drumroll please, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, and look forward to us adding Dogecoin potentially in the future. So that is the news for today, guys. I just wanted to break down the market cycles, let you guys know that, if we do have a look at the stock to flow, it would appear that we are in the end of the cycle. But if we have a look at some of these other charts, the rainbow chart, or we have a look at, this cycle that came out here from Miles J Creative, then we do have a lot more upside to go. And there is a potential that the price that we're looking at right now, as I'm making this video, could be the bottom of the bear market at the end of the next super cycle. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think we're going into a super cycle? Do you think that this is all just a bunch of baloney? It is what it is. 4 years, we're done. That's it. Pack up. We had our chance. What do you think about it? Personally, I am looking towards a lengthening cycle. Could I be wrong? Of course. I've been wrong before, but having a look at the fact that we've seen things so differently this time, we've seen this Wyckoff distribution accumulation. We saw the rounded top in the middle of the cycle. We saw this lengthened, sort of drawn out accumulation stage, things we've never actually seen before. Then that could suggest that this time it is in fact different, and this chart could still hold up, and Bitcoin could still potentially be on its way somewhere to 200 to 500,000 before the end of this cycle. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like these types of, analysis videos where we look at historical trends and we look at the data, let me know. I'm always trying to get feedback for what kind of content you guys enjoy on this channel. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. My name is K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. And make sure if you are going to trade leverage, low leverage, make sure that you use a test account first. And if you have no idea what you're doing, don't do anything. Watch these videos popping up right here, right now. And until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.